The sea is restless. Wind slams against the wooden boat. The sky has turned black, not evening dark, but storm dark. That kind of dark that feels alive. The disciples are shouting over the roar of the waves. Buckets fly, hands slip, lightning flashes across terrified faces. They are doing everything they know to survive. And Jesus is asleep, right there, in the same boat, same storm, resting. If you've ever felt anxious, if you've ever been tired of trying to hold everything together, you know this story. The storm isn't just wind and water anymore. It's the bills you can't catch up on, the doctor's call you weren't ready for, the quiet ache of loneliness, the weight of trying to be okay when you're not. Sometimes the storm is outside of you. Sometimes it's inside. Either way, it's loud. And when the waves rise high and your prayers feel small, you start to wonder the same thing those disciples did. Jesus, don't you care? Let's go back there for a moment. Mark 4 says Jesus had spent the whole day teaching by the sea. Crowds pressed in. Stories flowed. Parables about seeds, faith, hidden things becoming seen. When evening came, he said, "Let's go to the other side." They pushed off. The lake was calm at first, but then sudden, violent, the kind of storm fishermen knew could kill them. And in that chaos, Jesus, worn out, human, real, lay down in the back of the boat and fell asleep. Water filled the deck. They panicked. They shook him awake. "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" And Jesus rose, not frantic, not afraid, and said 3 words that changed everything. "Peace, be still." And the sea obeyed. When the disciples cried out, "Don't you care?" it wasn't just about the storm. It was about fear, about being forgotten, about that deep ache that says, if you love me, this wouldn't be happening. We've all been there. When prayers seem to hit the ceiling, when you can't feel God anywhere, when the waves keep coming and he's still quiet. It's easy to think his silence means absence, but it doesn't. He was in the boat the whole time. The storm didn't mean he left. It meant they were learning who he really was. People sometimes say, if you really had faith, you wouldn't be afraid. But that's not what Jesus taught here. He didn't scold them for being scared. He asked gently, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Not as judgment, but as invitation. Faith isn't pretending the storm isn't real. Faith is knowing you're not alone in it. Real faith says, "I'm scared, but I know love hasn't left me. I'm tired, but I'm not abandoned." Sometimes peace doesn't come when the wind stops. It comes when you finally realize he's still beside you. That's the miracle before the miracle. The calm inside before the calm around. Imagine this: water sloshing, the boat's rocking, and Jesus sleeping. Not because he didn't care, but because he trusted. He knew the storm didn't have the final word. And that same quiet confidence, that same rest, is what he offers us. You might not be able to stop the storm, but you can sit beside the one who can. He's not waiting for you to prove your strength. He's not disappointed that you're afraid. He just wants you to stop rowing long enough to remember he's there. If you're listening to this right now and your heart feels like that boat, battered, full of fear, half sinking, this is for you. You're not faithless because you're afraid. You're not weak because you cry. You're not alone because it feels quiet. Jesus hasn't left you. He's still in your boat, even if the waves haven't stopped, even if it feels like he's asleep. His nearness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a stillness in the middle of everything else. A breath that reminds you you're held. Take a breath right now, right where you are. In your car, your kitchen, your hospital room, your empty apartment. You're not alone. The storm doesn't get to decide your story. Love does. We love the moment the storm stops. That cinematic peace, waves turning to glass, moonlight breaking through the clouds. But maybe the bigger miracle wasn't that the sea obeyed. Maybe it was that his friends saw who he really was. They whispered, "Who is this?" Even the wind and waves obey him. And in that question, faith was being born. Faith that doesn't need to understand everything, just to know he's here. That's the kind of peace that holds when the diagnosis doesn't change, when the relationship doesn't heal overnight, when life doesn't calm down on your schedule. Peace isn't always the end of the storm. Sometimes it's the presence of Jesus in the middle of it. You might feel like the disciples tonight, wondering why he hasn't stood up yet, but he's not gone. He hasn't forgotten. And when the time is right, he still speaks to chaos the same way he did back then. Peace, he says, be still. And somehow in the middle of everything, something inside you breathes again. Maybe all he's asking tonight is that you stop fighting the waves alone. Let him be near. Let his calm find its way into your storm. Because the truth is, he's still in the boat, even now. The waves still rise, the wind still howls. But he's still here, still kind, still safe, still Jesus. If this message has met you somewhere deep, if you feel seen or comforted by these words, that's him. He's reminding you that storms don't last forever, and that peace isn't something you earn. It's something He brings. If you want to support us and help spread the word of Jesus in a gentle way, consider getting our short book, a simple, honest, and hopeful guide full of second chances. The link is in the description. Until next time, remember, you're not alone in the storm. You never were, and you never will be, because He's still in your boat, even now.